Hello. Who is here with me today? Hello, Nicole. How are you? Who else is here? So if this is your first time with me, I can't see you. You could see me, but you could chat with me. So if you go and chat and let me know if you're here. The other thing is when you attend live, you actually get some customization. So if there's something that you need, an area to focus on, I'd love for you to share that with me. And since 2010, I've been teaching yoga. I've at this point, honestly, seen thousands of people, thousands of bodies in motion. I specialize in bone health. I have my own hip journey. But what has happened for me over the years is being able to work with many people. I've learned a lot of things. So when you come to these classes live, and if you tell me, oh, my low back is sore, my knee is sore, something like this, then I can sprinkle into the practice today things that will specifically target those areas that you have issues with. So it's really nice for me when we're interactive and I know who's here. Some of you I actually know. I've either worked with you privately or you're in my programs, you're in my groups. I see you, I know you, maybe we've discussed the issues that you have, and some of you not. It's always nice for me. And whenever I teach a class live, I walk in, someone will run up to me and say, oh, blah, 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 blah. And they'll tell me something that they have going on that they need help with. And it's really amazing because it can actually help to inform whatever it is I teach that day. And then it's always interesting how others say, oh my gosh, I needed that too. I didn't realize. So anyway, Nicole, oh yeah, my safari was amazing. I don't know if we spoke about that, but that safari that I went on was one of my favorite trips ever. Cannot wait to get back to Africa. I actually have a friend. We both just turned 60. She's one of my best friends, and she's there right now. So I am still in Africa, I feel. I'm vicariously living through her. I helped her prepare for her trip. She's there now. I'm going to hear her stories. Like, I know where she is. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's going to Victoria Falls today. So she's going to be sprayed with water. When I went to Victoria Falls, I didn't have waterproof mascara on, and my mascara was all over my face. There's a lot of water there right now. And, the fact that I want to still travel, like that's one of the reasons why I do what I do in life is my goal is to always be able to travel. So Jean, hi, or Jenny, hi. Beth, hello. Janet, hello. And then, yes, you're part of my Stronger Bones program. Are you doing my Healthy Gut, Healthy Bones program? And if you are, I'd love to know more about that. Have you noticed any shifts yet? It's been so wonderful for me when people let me know what's happening. They're pooping every day now, or they have more energy, or they're adopting some of the habits that are going to support health and support bone health. And so I always love when I hear all the things that are changing, especially if you start pooping every day. I want to hear about your poop, which I know sounds crazy. All fours with a knee replacement. Okay. Oh, that's a good one, Nicole. And I know you teach seniors, so I'm wondering if you're asking for that, because I don't think you had a hip knee replacement, did you? And you know what, Nicole, that's a big one. I had a woman that actually came to ask me in class about a month or 2 months ago if I could help her learn how to get up and down off the floor safely. And I actually just did a podcast with an orthopedic surgeon on regenerative medicine. And he actually doesn't really do that many surgeries anymore. He's trying to teach people how to regenerate their bones. And here's what he said. He's a surgeon. He's orthopedics, and he's in the UK. And he did a lot of the Premier League high-level soccer players in the UK. He's also a professor. And he said, we know that bones regenerate because we do orthopedic surgery and we do follow-up checkups, and we see that the bones did regenerate, right? The bone tissue integrated with whatever parts, or the bones fuse back together if they're fractured. Why have we not realized that? Why have we moved away from teaching people, especially women, that your bones can regenerate? No. We say, you have osteoporosis or osteopenia. Here's a pill that builds fake bone or stops breakdown. The medications do not build physiological structural bone. Anyway, we're doing it here. So, getting up and down, we were talking about, he teaches lifestyle things now, and I was talking to him about this. So yes, Nicole, we will learn about getting up and down. Pat, hello. Okay, good. Janet, hopefully you're noticing some shifts. Drinking more water, pooping every day, super important. More fiber, protein. I know, it make me laugh too. Oh my God, I never talked about poop before. Are you kidding? Until I became a functional health coach and I realized it's an indicator of how healthy your gut is. And if you don't have a healthy gut, you can't have healthy bones, can't have healthy hormones, can't age well. For one of your students. Yeah, okay. When I talk about Africa, my eyes are shining. Oh, well, let me just tell you, Africa is very, very special, very special. Hope, more core work in the last class. You've done, so leg and arm work would be good. But that's all good. All right, legs and arms. Well, we do a lot of arms in yoga, which is interesting, especially when we do all fours and plank and things like that. I was telling my class yesterday, I have 2 classes on Wednesday. I was telling my class yesterday that I was looking at my back in the mirror because I was doing something to my hair and I was looking at the back and I was noticing the definition and tone of my rhomboids, the muscles in between your shoulder blades, the muscles that hold your shoulder blades in home base, which is on the back of your body, not on the side of your body. Important for posture and for bone health. All right. Staying on all fours to complete some postures. Yeah. And one of, oh, all right. No, Naomi, right? Welcome. Anything in particular that you are managing or want help with, let me know. Text me here. Nicole, knees are the hardest things for a teacher, for a yoga teacher. It's the hardest thing that I had to learn. In 2010, when I started teaching to the 50 plus crowd and people tell me they have a knee replacement, they couldn't bend their knees. I mean, I've learned so much about all of that at this point. But one thing about knees is padding. So yes, it's about creating strength in the joint so that we could get up and down. But I would say that padding is going to become the important thing, and knees that are replaced do not bend like real knees or natural knees because the joint itself is designed to not go to full flexion. So there's a physical anatomical range that is in a replacement knee that will not allow full flexion. And so that person that gets a knee replacement, whatever their PT, the PT is going to push them a little bit farther than they want to go. And they need to maintain as much flexion as possible. But to maintain full range of motion in the knee joint, I don't even know if I've ever seen it after someone's had a replacement part. The real key then becomes blankets and cushion for knees when you have knee replacements. Let me see. Okay, Naomi, start the program. It's going to give you the lifestyle tools and habits from a dietary perspective and a stress management and a movement perspective, all the areas we do have control over so that you could take control of your bone health. Yeah, you made a donut from your yoga blanket. I'm going to show you something else, okay? So I'm going to go back there. I will not be able to see anything else. We could talk afterwards. If you're not subscribed to my channel, down below you subscribe, you'll get notifications when I go live. I do live classes weekly, and then thumbs up. You could wait till the end to see how you feel. So let me go over here and do what I want to do. Okay. I just got finished showing up in a group program for one of my friends who's a gynecologist, and she has programs and brought me in to teach movement. And as I was teaching the movement, one of the things I said to her or said to the group is that I'm going to teach you on this 2 foot by 6 foot rectangle. I'm going to teach you some things here. But what you learn here about moving your body, keeping your body safe when you move it, you want to take off the mat. So yes, practice yoga. Yes, practice a 1 hour long class or a 30-minute class or a 20-minute class. The biggest thing I want you to learn is the movement to bring into your body, how to move yourself safely, effectively. Having more muscle on your body is the key to healthy aging. It's the key to having stronger fracture-resistant bones, and it's the key to healthy aging. Because in the muscles, we have a lot of mitochondria that produce energy, the energy that your body needs to beat your heart, to replicate cells, to blink your eyes, to smile, for all the digestive processes to take place, and for bone remodeling to take place. Here, I want you to give it your all, do your best, leave the rest. And also, if you get diagnosed with osteoporosis or osteopenia, that is a mental, emotional diagnosis. It puts you into a fear place, feeling fragile and breakable, scared to move. I'm going to tell you that the number one movement to not do when you have osteoporosis, the number one no is to bend your spine forward. No. You do not want to collapse the front of your spine. You don't want to bend forward to reach for things, to get things, to do things. You want instead to bend your hip, keep your spine in an aligned position. And then really strong rotation, especially if you are bending forward and then rotating to get something. Those are the no-nos. Other than that, it's learning how to move safely, efficiently, effectively, to create as much tension, pressure, stress. We actually manage stress when we're practicing yoga. We manage stress by using it as our friend, by making it or using stress to create more muscles, to create more bones, to create more vibrancy or resiliency in our tissues, in our joints, in our body. So you practice here, you learn here what is safe, what's effective, how do I move? You learn different body parts, what do you need to focus on? And then you take it off your mat into your day. So yes, practice here, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour. And then how can you practice for the rest of the day working on stronger bones? So it becomes an all day, what are you doing in the movement category to build stronger bones? And when it comes to bone health, here are the 4 things to focus on: strength, posture, flexibility, and balance. So all of those we practice here, you take it off and out into your life. So preparing yourself for the practice, a wall if you need it, a chair. I'd like to use a chair today in the practice, so have a chair handy. A chair without arms is ideal. So if you have a chair that does not have arms on it, that would be best. If you do, that's going to be a little bit more limiting. We will be using this today. I will start the practice with that. So I'm going to do a legs up the chair because I have it here. Whenever I do a practice with a chair, I usually start like that because it's a great way to relax your hip joint, your pelvis, and your low back. The 2 areas that we look at with bone health, we look at the hip, we look at the neck of the femur, we look at the total hip, the top of the femur bone. We also look at the lumbar spine. And so this entire part of our body is what becomes really important to focus on. If you have osteoporosis or osteopenia, your low back spine and your hips. But that's all that the DEXA scan looks at. Where most of the fractures are is right here in your spine. Only 2 of the lower, but there's 5 of the upper that will collapse. So just raising your awareness to how are you moving, learning that here, taking that off the mat into your practice. So we're going to start with a chair, and having a block and a strap and a blanket handy is going to be important as well. Now, if you don't have a chair handy right now, you could come onto the ground without using the chair, but I'd like to do just a little bit on the chair to get our low back and pelvis settled and to actually set up our internal environment for some of the work that we'll do to really focus on what matters when it comes to bone health. So get your chair ready. And then when you come down, even right now, let's start off with that awareness piece. We're not going to bend our spine to go down. We're going to bend our lower body. So this is a perfect opportunity to think about, how do I get down onto the floor effectively? Well, let's take a wide stance. Now, if you need the chair to hold on to the chair, but take a wide stance. And this is the thing. Yes, you could do a yoga class for 20 minutes or an hour, but what are you doing all day throughout the day? Because you could actually maintain strength, flexibility, posture, and all of those things that matter throughout the day with the movements that you do, with the awareness, being in your, is this good for my bones? 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 So take one leg really long, and this happens to be my strongest leg. So you know what? I'm going to switch because I want to keep working on my weaker side, which is my hip replacement side. So I'm going to work on that side. So take yourself really, really into a big, wide stance here. My hand is on the chair if I need it. And then I'm going to slowly, slowly, slowly lower down into bending the joints. And that is what helps to get us down, bringing yourself all the way down onto the ground. And then we're going to come even down more. So now when you come down to the next level, keep your spine long. Don't collapse your spine to get down. If you reach your hand away, that'll keep your spine long. Bring your legs on the chair. Now here's the thing about legs on the chair. It may sound like, oh yeah, sure, I'm just going to put my legs on the chair. Well, if you have the back of your thighs touching the back of the chair and your entire calf supported, you've taken the pressure there. Now you let the femur bone sit nice and deep into the pelvis. This is relaxing for the hip joint. It also relaxes the pelvis and relaxes the lumbar spine. So it takes some tension off of the whole hip complex, which can then help to set you up for being in an aligned position in the pelvis, so we can start to do some pushing and pulling and stressful stuff for our hips and pelvis, because that's an area we need to focus on. Now, blanket could be underneath your head or not, depending on who you are and what you are, where you are in your posture. And then your arms go out to the side. So bring your arms out to the side like this. Now, if you were going to do this without a chair and have your legs straight, you would spread your legs a little straighter. When you come onto the ground like this, it starts to work on posture and stretching little muscles that are in your spine and your shoulders. Lift your head, lengthen your neck, tuck your chin down towards your chest. And then close your mouth. Let your lower jaw relax back in the joint. Lots of tension gets held in our jaw, conscious and subconscious stress. So let that relax. And then bring your awareness to your nostrils as you inhale. And as you exhale, let your head slowly roll in one direction. And then inhale slowly to bring yourself back up to center. And slowly exhale in the other direction. Inhale back up to center. Exhale into the stretch. Inhale back to center. So when you exhale, you stimulate the relaxation zone of the nervous system. And as we stretch the neck here with the eyes closed, maybe you notice the stretch goes a little farther down. Maybe it stays in the neck. Maybe the farther you go, you feel that connection of those muscles to the base of the skull. This is an hourglass shape of muscle group that attaches onto the top opening of your rib cage and the bottom opening of your skull. And this is what these muscles manage the head on top of the body, which is critical for posture and spinal health. So warm up these muscles. There's also 7 bones in your neck. We're creating lubrication in the neck muscles and neck vertebra as you move side to side. One more each direction. And then bring yourself back to center. Now let your arms be heavy. Feel the backs of the hands. Feel the forearm bones, right side, left side. The elbows, right side, left side. The upper arm bone, the humerus, right side, left side. Let the right shoulder totally relax. See if you could turn off even more muscles. Then let the left side totally turn off. Let go more muscles. Heavy arms, heavy shoulders, heavy head. Bring your awareness to your rib cage. Let your rib cage be heavy. Bring your awareness to the low back. Can you let the low back soften? Feel gravity pulling the low back to the ground. And then feel the connection in the center of your pelvis. Center of the buttock area. That's the base of the spine, the sacrum bone. Feel the pressure there. Bring your awareness over to the right hip. That femur bone is sitting deep in the hip joint. This is helpful for those of you that have hip issues. If you have any pain or discomfort or arthritis, this could be relaxing for the hip. Bring your awareness over to the left hip, same thing. Feel that hip joint sink deep in the socket. When the hips are relaxed and the pelvis goes to a neutral, it also relaxes the lumbar spine. Taking that curvature, that extension curve, and relaxing the spine. So let's take 3 breaths down to our low back. When you finish that 3rd breath, give the breath back to your body to breathe itself. Then bring your awareness to your right heel, your right calf. Push your right heel, your right calf into the chair a lot. Noticing what you notice in your body. Keep your eyes closed. Now do the same thing with the left side. Push the left heel, the left calf into the floor or into the chair. Feel and notice what you notice. There's a joint in the middle of our pelvis. Our pelvis attaches onto our spine in our bone called the sacrum. And we're pushing one leg down and then the other down. You're getting a little bit of movement in your pelvis, a very small movement, having an effect on that sacroiliac joint where the hips fuse with the pelvis. So the spine fuses with the pelvis. Just an awareness piece for you on, could this be an area where I have issues? So for those with low back issues or hip issues, any kind of arthritis or any issues, it's nice to actually understand in your body what you need to focus on. Now push both down strongly. Notice what you notice there. Take 1 more breath. And then we're going to slowly slide the heels in towards your body. Bring the hands onto the knees and pull the knees towards your belly. This will press the low back into the ground and rock side to side. And then bring yourself onto your side. And from here, use your hand on the ground, use your elbow on the ground, and push yourself to bring yourself up to seated. So when you begin a practice, even if you're gonna do your own practice, it's nice to get that connection with mind and body, that interoception. Whether you do a seated position where you close your eyes and you slow everything down and bring yourself to the moment, or you come onto your back. The elements of what helps to stimulate the relaxation zone in the body is the closer to flat that you put your body, the more you stimulate relaxation. Also, the darker the room, the right temperature, these are all factors that can actually help to set you up for success when you work on calming the nervous system. so we can then tap into it. Use our body here to stress the muscles, stress the bones, stress the joints to develop strength safely. And with that connection and that awareness. So I'd like to practice getting up and down off the floor. And it is good to do this with a chair. It's also okay to do this without anything if you have that much strength in your body. So getting a blanket to support the knees is always something that I do. I have natural knees. I have a hip replacement, but I have natural knees. But those that have knee replacements don't always like to weight bear. And even me with natural knees, even in my 30s, I hated putting weight on my knees. There was something about that pressure on my kneecaps I didn't like. So a couple of things to remedy that would be a blanket is a good thing. They also sell these wedges or these foam pieces. If you have old yoga mats, you could cut up old yoga mats and strips and stack them. And then if you have nothing, you could take your mat and fold your mat in two, or fold it again and have a bigger piece of mat to put your knees on. And you'll see these yoga mats are pretty substantial for that. Now, for those of you that have bought Pilates mats, which are thick foam mats, be careful with those. Those are like banana peels. They slip and slide all over the place. Not good for when you're standing up and practicing yoga. I do notice a lot of people buy those because they think it's better cushion. So folding the mat like this can be a great way to support the knees, or using a blanket. I'll just do this because I'm here. I'd like us to practice lowering into and out of the joints, because that's where a lot of strength can get created. And when we do the postures of yoga, we actually lower down into joints in a bent position. It's eccentric movement, moving into lengthening muscles and then strengthening them. And it's a very valuable way to strengthen our muscles. It's not just about going to the gym and lifting heavy weights and having big, bulky muscles. It's about having functional muscles that will bend and not break your bones. That's really our goal for osteoporosis and osteopenia. So have a chair here, have a knee on the ground, and let's try this with the leg near the chair first. So the key things here is this. That ankle needs to be underneath that knee. So if you have the foot too close to your body, it's really, really hard to unload from that knee and that hip when your foot is closer. So take your foot away, and then the back toes, flip the back toes under. Now, if you need to use the pushing action of your hands, you can. Take one hand on your waist and put your elbow back, because this will put the shoulder blade back. This will keep your spine in a nice aligned position. And then you could put your body weight forward. It'll give you a little bit more help here. And then push away from the back foot. Really push that front heel into the floor, because that is what's going to help you to go up and go down. Go up and go down. This is deep work. This may look like, wait a minute, what are we doing practicing getting up and down? No. To be this deep here, to be this deep in this hip, this is advanced. Go slow, try this. Up and down, up and down. This is what actually keeps you healthy and active for the rest of your life. Stay here with me, up and down, gazes forward, and then bring yourself down. And then bring that knee back. So this is like doing a warrior pose, only more intense and harder because you're in a lower position. And this is what it is. The more you're bending your joints, you're weight bearing in those joints, strengthening the heck out of those joints. So now I have the leg farther away from the chair, and I'm going to push my toes in the back and really activate. If you push that front heel into the floor, you're activating the posterior chain muscles, the big glutes, the back muscles. And these muscles we need to keep strong for our pelvis, for our hip, for our spine. So look forward, push the back toes under, and then you lift up. So go slow at first, because you need to train these muscles. The back knee goes straight down. You bend the hip deeper, the knee deeper, If your knee is not happy, lift your toes off the floor or move the foot forward more so you activate, you put that more in the back body and not to the front body. And then bring yourself down, come all the way down. Take a little break here. This is a kneeling position for a break. When you're in a kneeling position, it's actually a really great position for people who have had knee replacements, because people who have knee replacements or knee issues cannot flex. They cannot sit back on their heels. And so if that's you, if you have a replacement, don't push it. If it's a matter of tightness that's come into your world, this is what you need to notice. If you try this, is the intensity of the sensation here in the middle of the thighs, or is the intensity of the situation over the kneecaps? If you feel a pulling over the kneecaps, that's your tendons that attach your quadriceps to the lower leg bones. Don't force the issue. Slowly and surely work on lengthening your muscles, but don't push that issue. If the stretch is here, that's the belly of your quadricep, you could stretch that and should stretch that. And the other thing I want to note is that when you're here in a kneeling position, this is weight bearing. You are weight bearing in your pelvis, in your hips. So I'd like to continue with this. Let's move this chair thoughtfully. Thoughtfully unload from your lower body to move the chair off of the mat for a second. And then you're going to bring yourself down onto the mat. So we're going to be in a kneeling position, so you're going to need to have a blanket underneath your knees for cushion, or fold up your mat. So you could put your mat this way and fold up the cushion for knees if you need that. Bring your right foot forward. So your right foot is forward, and then try to be in this neutral position here. Take your hands on your waist and then take your hands down alongside your body. Now I want you to take your foot and notice here, is this a balance? Do you feel the balance here? Now take the right foot, this is the right foot forward, and take it out to the side, and notice how solid you feel here. You are single leg weight bearing on that left leg. You're putting that left hip, pressing that into the hip capsule. You're having to balance there. You're creating muscular strength, neuromuscular communication, stronger pelvis on that left side. This is weight bearing. It's half of your leg, so we don't have the foot and the ankle joining, but you're still getting a lot of balance training. Now bring your right foot back to center and try to take the right foot to the left. You're going to come into a place where you're going to confuse your nervous system, and your body is going to have to figure out you're like on a tightrope here. So try to get that right foot to be coming off that left knee. Now, depending on who you are, I'm not seeing you in action, but you know for yourself, if you come closer to this tightrope action, you're going to feel in your body right now. You're going to feel that right foot working, that right ankle. You might have twinges that are happening in your right glute, that right hip joint. Where are you? Where are you? Don't let your right toes come off the floor. We need our toes for balance. Really grab the floor with that right foot, which is the front foot, and make sure your foot is underneath your knee, not too close to your body. And just feel this in your body. Ooh, you could add a little bit of challenge, moving your hands around. If you're really solid in your balance, you could close one eye and then close the other. Closing both eyes, depending on how much you want to challenge yourself, if you close both eyes, you'll see how much harder that becomes. Even those of us that have really good balance. And then go ahead and open your eyes. Bring yourself out. Give your knee a break. That was weight bearing on the knee. And even if you have padding underneath, I'd like to suggest that we try the break like this. It works for those of us who have bendable knees. For those whose knees don't bend, you may need to stay up here on both, kneeling in both high. You could try to put the block between your tushy and your heels. If you have limber enough feet, if you're noticing the top part of your feet are experiencing this, work on flexible feet. We need flexible feet, activity in our feet for fall and fracture prevention. And then the other option is to take the block and put the block between your ankles and sit on here. This actually helps to align the spine in a nice position. Elbows are underneath the shoulders. Just close your eyes for a second. Noticing what you notice. A lot of joint work, a lot of hip, a lot of knee, and a lot of communication of balance in your pelvis for fall and fracture prevention. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and open your eyes. We're going to go to the other side now. And this is always something that intrigues me when I teach this in class, is this stance for balance. Now, you want to make sure that that ankle is underneath that knee. You don't have your foot closer to your body than that. You want this distance, the femur bone, largest bone in the body, you want your foot to be that distance from your body. And then just come to the neutral position. Now, this is your right hip joint that you're on. So now your right hip joint, communication of the spine for balance is activated. And just notice here what you notice. Hands down alongside your body. And then take that left foot out, heel toe to the side. And notice that. Notice what that feels like. Because this is stability. When you go wider with your legs, you're creating a triangle base, and a triangle is the strongest shape in nature. Now we're going to challenge ourselves. Heel toe, neutral, and then go to the center. So that that left knee is in alignment almost, or maybe with the right knee. And this is where your body has to work to figure out, where are you? You confused it. You put yourself too close together with your feet, or your knee on one side, foot on the other, and now your body's trying to figure out right side, left side, front, back, right side, left side, front, back, all that balance communication. So keeping yourself real active with balance in your hip, in your spine, in your pelvis. If you want to add challenge, add challenge. And then maybe an eye, maybe the other eye. And only do the visual part if you have strong balance. Challenge yourself appropriately, because it could be dangerous if you close your eyes and then you're not able to maintain your position. The good news is we're near the ground, so if you did come out of this, it wouldn't be too far, but always making sure you do the appropriate thing for you. And then bring yourself out. Coming to that rest position, staying up here. If you have knees that don't bend, or grabbing the block and putting the block in a position that's good for you. So you can close your eyes and just notice in your body what you notice. Take the pressure off the knees. That was a lot of pelvic work, a lot of pelvic communication, and also lower lumbar. So getting that fall and fracture resistance, right? So fall and fracture prevention, just really always working on that in that whole entire pelvic area of your body. And then go ahead and open your eyes. So I'd like to work on strengthening many things here. We're going to do plank pose. And the thing about plank pose, it strengthens the front of your body. It really strengthens the front of the hip. And because we're weight bearing on our arms and our hands, we strengthen our shoulders, we strengthen our arms. We bring that flexibility into the wrist and the strength into the wrist to help minimize the potential of a wrist fracture. And this is the number one site of fracture in women that are 65 or older. So take your blanket and bring your blanket onto your mat so that you protect your knees. And if you didn't have a blanket, you'd fold your mat in a couple of pieces for your knees. I'll do this in stages because depending on who you are and what your ability is, that will matter. So let's do a little bit to stretch our wrists in this position. So take your hands so that you turn them So the fingertips are pointing to your knees. And you want to make sure that your hands, the distance of the hand and the knee, that this distance is as long as your torso. So what I notice often is women will have their hands too close to their knees and they're jamming themselves up. So take your hands a little farther. The fingers are pointing to your knees and the palms are on the floor. So it's a little bit weird, not something you're used to doing, but this is great to strengthen the forearms, to strengthen the arms, to strengthen the flexibility of the forearm and the wrist for fracture prevention. If you're able to move your body weight back a little bit, you'll intensify that stretch. Now, this is not for everybody to be able to, having straight arms is a challenge for many. Some are able to go to straight arms, and then you could move within this a little bit of side to side, a little bit forward and backward. It's kind of a weird thing. My hands are like this on the ground and doing this, and I feel a lot of intensity, and I do teach a lot of yoga, and I also work on keeping this range of motion in my body myself, and I feel that intensity. So just move in whatever feels appropriate, and then bring yourself out. If that was really a challenge for you, here's a thing to do throughout the day to bring more range of motion in your body. Take your hand and push your heel away, palm is facing away from you, and keep the arms straight when you do that. So that's a way to really work on this here, maintaining flexion. And then when you're able to start weight bearing on it, start weight bearing on it. Okay, one more thing like that that's working on wrist strength, arm strength, shoulder strength, and improving flexibility at the same time. Now this one's a little weird. You're going to take the back of your hand and put the back of the hand on the ground with the arms straight. If you bring your body weight forward over your wrists, you'll feel this. Now, if you're trying this yourself and you're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. When I have a room full of 20 women and we are doing this, not everybody can do it. Most can't do it fully, not to this extent where you have straight arms. Pushing your body weight back adds intensity. So it's working towards weight bearing in this deep flexion in the wrists that becomes the challenge. Here's what you do if you can't even get anywhere near that. You come up here without weight. You push your hand. It's the back of the hand you push forward, not the fingers, but the back of the hand to now keep the top of your wrist. So you either try this in a weight bearing position or not. Try to keep the arms straight and then take one more breath. And then bring yourself out, bring yourself up. Just always working on different areas of our body that we might not normally think about. Take your hands, wiggle your hands, move the wrists around in one direction, wrists in the other direction. If the weight bearing part is too hard, this is what you do in the meantime. You take your hand here and you can put it across your body, you push your hand back, or you're pushing your hand down here. You could do this often and keep this really strong, really limber for fracture prevention. Okay, so I'd like to work on the front body. We're going to do the plank pose, working on the front body, and I want to give you different things to do when you're in this, partly to distract you, but also for those of you that need the modification. So everyone come forward with your hands, fingertips are forward, palms are on the ground. And your wrist is forward of your shoulder. Now you could, pointing your fingers forward is the best, but if you need a little bit of relief in your wrist, if you point your hands out to the side, that's a little relief. Always go to the place you're going to develop the most strength and flexibility. So challenge yourself when you're here. And then you're going to bring yourself forward so that you load into your wrists and bring your body back. So your entire pelvis and rib cage and head moves forward and moves back. Flatten your toenails So your toenails are touching the mat. Don't flip your toes under, flatten your toenails. Bring yourself forward, stay here. Now this would be the modification where you're challenging your core. Don't let your pelvis hang down. Don't let your head hang down. So look forward. Everyone start from this position. If you're able to flip your toes under and lift your knees off, lift your knees off. If you lift your knees off, push through one heel, push through the other heel. Feel the stretch in the quad or the calves. And then your gaze is forward, but you could close your eyes now. And then really push away from the floor with your arms. Push away from your body with your heels. And then a little bit to distract yourself, walk your feet closer together or your knees closer together if you're on your knees. And then lift one leg up, take one leg out to the side and tap it down. Go slow, lift it up and bring it back. Lift the other leg up, tap it out to the side, lift it up and bring it back. Up and out to the side, gazes forward, and you could have your eyes closed, just feeling lots of spinal work, lots of front body work. One more each side. Push through your heels, push away from the ground, take one more breath. And then bring yourself out of plank. Close your eyes, either sit on bent knees, stay up high in a kneeling position, or come into a crisscross position. Close your eyes, close your mouth, deep breaths. Deep breaths. Mouth is closed. Breathe down to your low back or down to your tailbone, down to your tummy. Slow down the breath rate. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and open your eyes. So keeping your side body strong is important for spinal health. So I'd like to do a balancing half moon, doing modifications, reducing half of our body. This posture looks a lot easier than it is. I don't know what percentage I would say of live students that I would say struggle with this, but it's a pretty high number because it does look a lot easier than it is. We're going to strengthen the side of our body, the side of our hip. We're actually going to be on the side of our hip joint balancing, which is not something we do in normal life. So for this, we're going to use a block and a blanket. And being near a wall is actually a really good idea, or the back of a sofa, something that you could actually put your body up against. If you do it away from that, it's definitely more balance challenge. So practicing this near a wall is a really good idea. I'll teach it to you wherever you are now, and then remember this posture and try to practice this posture and try to work towards, I don't want to say the word perfecting it, but getting better at it. Because this one here is really good for the side body in a couple of different ways. And I'll describe that as we do it. So you're going to come onto all fours. Whenever we're in all fours, we are giving our spine a break and we are deeply rooting our hip in the socket and our shoulder blades on our back and our shoulders, strengthening our shoulders. So it's always good to try to do all fours position as often as you can. If you have issues, whether it's your wrist or your knees that don't like this, Make it likable. So pad your knees as much as possible. And with the wrists, some of the things to do for that, you could actually roll up the front edge of your mat so that you minimize the flexion in your wrist, or you can invest in some kind of padding. They have wedges that actually don't bend your wrist fully. So get things that you could actually use to modify, and so not avoiding this, but making it manageable. The block is going to go on the right side. You're going to come from first on all fours position. Make sure your knees are coming right out of your hips. Now I'm going to show you on this side what I'm doing, but I'm going to be doing it on my left. You keep your knee on the ground, but you slide your left foot off to the side. So the knee stays on the ground, but you slide the left foot off. So slide the left foot off to the side. Spread the left fingers like crazy. Bring your right hand on the block. And now bring yourself up so that your right foot comes right off of the knee. So look at your knee and get your right foot in the floor, and then bring your right arm on top of your waist. Now this right here is a balance posture. Even being here, I want you to unbend the hip joint, the left hip. So you need to turn your hip lights forward, turn your heart lights forward, and come into this position. If you have your leg alongside your body and not forward, if it's forward and your hip is forward, you won't be able to come lifted. But if you're able to get yourself linear, and this may be where you begin and you stay here until you get better at this, until the hip you're balancing on can handle you on the side, and until you have this much flexibility in your joints to find this. Once you're here, you lift the right leg up. Now we are using glute medius. And we are strengthening the side of our body on the lifted leg. And then we're weight bearing in the hip on the leg that's on the ground. And then bring your arm up towards the sky. Now push your arm back, that'll help you. Flex your foot of the lifted leg. Squeeze the tushy of the lifted leg. Push the lifted leg back to help you here as well. This is balancing half moon. Balancing on that hip that you're on the ground with. Your neck is going to start to feel it. You're strengthening your neck muscles. You're strengthening your upper leg muscles, strengthening the hip of the leg that you're balancing on. Reach through the heel of your leg, long, long, long spine. Arm is up towards the sky. Take one more breath. When you come out gracefully. So put your hand on your waist, put your foot down on the ground, take your foot forward, roll out of that hip. Bring yourself all the way up and take a break. So if this is the first time you're doing this, it takes a while to be successful in this because you've got to get to the side of your body. And we're rolling into the side of our hip joint. And then that's really the hard part. And it looks a lot easier than it is. It's a major balance posture. It's called balancing half moon. It's a modification. We do that standing up on our leg and roll into our hip joint, which is pretty powerful to get all that flexibility, mobility, and strength in your hip joint. That's really good for fall and fracture prevention. So this right here, balancing half moon, add a wall makes it a little easier. I didn't use the wall here, it is here, but I do recommend in the beginning you practice with the wall or the back of your sofa, somewhere that your pelvis could be supported, because when you take the balance out of that posture or minimize that, then you work more on the strength in the joints and the flexibility. And so we have balance, flexibility, and strength are three of the areas we work on in yoga, and creating that in your joints, balance, flexibility, and strength. So when you balance becomes a challenge. If you support yourself somehow to minimize the balance, then you can work more on flexibility and strength. So we have another side to do. Let's go to the other side. So coming onto the other side, blanket underneath your knees. Come onto all fours, look down. You want your knees to be in alignment here. They need to be coming off your pelvis and not too wide. Take your right foot this time and slide your right foot off to the right. And then bring your left hand on the block. Bring yourself up so you bring the left leg, the upper leg. You could look down, although that could be a challenge for you balance-wise. Bring the left foot directly in alignment with that left knee. and then bring that left leg up. You want to be as high as your body. So if at first it's too hard to hold your heavy leg up with your side body muscles, you may be a little lower. Just keep pushing up. Push through that heel to have a nice long leg. Bring your left arm in the sky. The right toenails are touching the floor, so don't bend the back toes. Push the top foot into the floor. Lift that left leg up. Reach through the heel. Reach long. Keep your arm up. Push your hips forward so you have your heart lights forward, your hip lights forward. Balance, balance, balance. Lift that leg up. Lengthen your spine here. Take one more breath. And then you're going to go slow here. So you're slowly going to bring the foot down, bring the foot forward, roll out of being on the side of that hip. Bring yourself all the way out and then close your eyes to find the rest, the balance. Lots and lots of hip work, a lot of pelvic work, a lot of training in your hip for different areas of motion, bringing more space into your hip, more being bendable and not breakable. Really important. Mouth closed, breathe down to your low back, to your pelvis, to your belly. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and open your eyes. So this next posture I want to work on is one of the most valuable postures in the practice of yoga for healthy aging and for bone health. We're going to do the bridge posture. Now bridge, we do that, we come onto our back and we push our pelvis up towards the sky. So the lower body muscles are working like crazy, the leg muscles, the glute muscles. As we lift the pelvis off, we start to get into the low back. I want you to also get into the muscles behind the heart. And we're going to use the arms pushing into the ground. So when we're on the ground, this is the position of the arms. The elbows are right beside your waist. You push your arms into the ground and your hands are pointing up to the sky. So that's going to be the hand position. We're going to do a couple of variations. We're going to use a block between our knees, which could be extremely helpful for knee health and for that whole midline and for our core and stabilizing muscles. So a lot of core and spinal. And then we're also going to use a strap. So get a strap. Ideally, you have a strap that has a loop on it, or if you don't have a loop, have a strap where you could actually tie the strap so that you have this tension to push into. When we push into the strap, we activate the side body muscles. It'll allow you to bring your pelvis higher and get more bend in your spine. Then you push the back of the spine into itself. That's how we create strength in our back. So we're going to do two different variations of the bridge posture. Have a block handy, have your strap handy. You could bring the blanket to the top of your mat to begin, but when we do the bridge, there's nothing behind your head. So let's come down safely onto the ground. Let's come from this position here, holding on to your back thighs. I want you to tilt your pelvis back, but keep length in the front of your spine. Use your core muscles. You could hold on or not. Go as controlled and slow as you can. That's core muscles and using core muscle strength. So bring yourself onto the ground, and then we're going to take the blanket away from the back of the head. Grab your block. Let's do the block first. So grab the block, take the block in between your thighs. Now this is good to help with knee health. It's good to strengthen the muscles and the core and the stabilizers of the pelvis. So you're going to put the block between your legs and then walk your feet as close as you can get to your body. Now the important thing about foot position in this, your feet are block distance. Don't have your feet be wider than your block. So and don't have them closer. So have your feet be block distance. That's probably one of the things that I notice the most when I teach this live. So take the block between your legs, move your feet as close as you can get them, nothing underneath your head. Push your arms into the floor, lift your rib cage up, slide the shoulder blades towards each other, lift your head, tuck your chin towards your chest. Toes are pointing forward. Inhale here. As you exhale, squeeze the block, tilt your pelvis back, push your feet into the floor, push your pelvis up to the floor, push your arms into the floor, and then inhale to lower, just warming up the muscles. That's your one, and then exhale to come up. And then on this next one, we're gonna come up and we're gonna hold. Push your feet in, squeeze the block, push your pelvis up, and then use your arms to bend your spine as much as possible. Close your eyes, squeeze that block, squeeze the tushy, push your arms into the ground, work your back body. Squeeze the block, squeeze your buttocks, squeeze, push your arms into the ground. One more breath. And then slowly, slowly bringing one vertebra down at a time. We're going to move to the strap. If you need to put the blanket underneath your head while you do your adjusting, you can. Or keep the blanket off. Put the block off the side. Grab your strap. Then you're going to take the strap and feed the feet through the strap and bring your strap to the top of your thighs. You want to have only a fist distance between. So make the strap tight enough so that you could only put your fist between the strap. And then put your feet on the ground. Walk your feet closer to your body. Bend your arms, push your arms into the floor, your head into the floor. Rib cage comes up, slide the shoulder blades towards the spine, and then lift your head, lengthen your neck. Push out on the strap. This will be a little easier to tilt your pelvis back. Inhale. As you exhale, push your feet into the floor, push out on the strap, squeeze your tushy, push it up towards the sky, and then press your arms into the ground, and then inhale to lower. Exhale, push your feet into the floor, push out on the strap, push your arms into the ground, push your pelvis up towards the sky. Inhale to lower. And then one more. Push your feet in, push out on the strap. Come up here and hold. Push your feet into the floor, push out on the strap. Really dig your arms into the ground. Push away from the ground with your arms. Bending your spine as much as possible. Feel that strength in the back of the body. Close your eyes. Bend your spine. Push the back of the spine into itself. Push out on the strap. Push your feet in. Squeeze your tushy. Dig your arms into the ground. Really push away from the floor. Strong pushing muscles of the back body. Push out on the strap, push your feet in, squeeze your buttocks, push your arms like crazy. Last breath. And then you're going to go slow here. So start to bring your heart towards the ground and then push out on the strap, lift your heels off. Pull your pelvis away from your rib cage to create length as you press the spine down onto the ground. And then let the pelvis touch, put the heels down. Reach up to get the blanket. Put the blanket under your head. Take your strap off. Bring the knees into your chest and rock side to side. And then a happy baby to settle what needs settled. Legs are wide, your knees are wider than your body. The soles of the feet go up towards the sky. For those of you that could reach up and hold on to your big toes, hold on to your big toes, or pinky toe edges of your feet with your legs spread. Lift your head, lengthen your neck. Do whatever is appropriate for you. And then last breath. Bring your feet onto the floor. Bring your body into a shavasana position. This is called corpse pose. This is a way to integrate whatever is happening in your body, all the stimulation that's new from either a posture you practice or an entire practice of postures that are strung together. Come into the shavasana, dig your heels into the ground, push your heels into the ground, let your low back relax, let your pelvis relax. Palms are open out to the side. Eyes are closed. Focus here on your breath. Stay with your breath. Finishing up your last breath. Bring your awareness to your fingers and toes as you start to move them. Move your ankles, move your wrists. And slowly bending one knee at a time. Draw one knee at a time into your chest. Press that low back into the ground and rock side to side. Come onto your side. And from here, using the pushing muscles, really push, don't pull yourself up. Push yourself up to a seated position. Crisscross your legs or come into whatever position feels appropriate for you. Take your hands together, and when you press your hands near your heart, that helps to activate the erector muscles of the spine, so helping with posture. Push your hands towards your heart. Imagine a puppeteer has a string at the top of your head. Lift your head, lengthen your spine, slightly tuck your chin down towards your chest. Let's settle the body, settle the mind, settle the soul with a gentle humming. Take a big exhale. Inhale deeply. Hands to the forehead, bowing forward in gratitude. The practice today had a lot of elements, lots of focus on joints, and especially the joints of the hips and the spine. And when we talk about the joints, those are bones. That's where bones meet. That's the area that we look at when it comes to bone health. It's also some of the most precarious areas to focus on to keep strong and flexible. Strength, balance, and flexibility. Those are the three main areas we focus on when we do the postures. The longer you hold, the more strength you create. The deeper you go, the more you lengthen, the more flexibility you work on. And then the balance is the hardest one. So if you want to work on the flexibility and the strength, having supportive props or the wall or a chair or something can help you when you're practicing. The point is to practice. We call it a practice because it's not ever anything you perfect. It's you taking care of you. So show up, learn, hear what you learn, and then take it off the mat and bring these principles of alignment into your daily life to keep your body strong, mobile, and flowing forever. All right, so I'd love to hear from those of you that are here. I see that there were some comments that I can't see when I'm back there, so let me see what was said. If you like this. If there's someone that you know could benefit from this, share this so more women can have access to this. Subscribe to my channel so that you'll get notifications. Half moon. Yeah, you know what? And nausea is an interesting thing when you practice yoga. I'm not sure exactly what all the components are. I think that inner ear fluid has a lot to do with it. And that is a balance posture, putting your head to the side like that. So I wonder if I would say, and I don't know if you're still here, but in case you watch this, to do it at a wall and to really take the balance out at first while you work on the strength. Bev, legs up the wall most evenings, awesome. You know what? If you have an inflamed SI joint, Bev, try that. Try to do your legs on a chair. See how that feels for you. And add a little bit of cushion underneath your sacral area, underneath your pelvis, because that could actually feel good as well. All right, Janet, you're there, gone. Perfect. Yes, Hope. The balancing pose is very challenging. Yeah, we've always got to challenge ourselves, Beth, right? We challenge ourselves here safely on the mat so that we take that off the mat with us. Patsy, good. I'm glad that you were doing most of it and keep working towards that. Great, Nicole. And hopefully you learned some things there for your knee replacement people, because I shared a lot there about knees. And the postures, by the way, we're strengthening knees, especially bridge, doing bridge and doing plank for knee strength, and then a chair pose or goddess to keep the quads strong for knee replacements. A challenge to balance posture. Yeah, you know what's crazy? Not everybody can do that. That's the one where I go into it and do it. And I think people think, oh, this is going to be nothing. We're kneeling, coming into a balance. And it's pretty shocking how few people can do that with that precision, where you're in between two sheets of glass without your chest caving forward or your pelvis caving forward. It's a lot harder than it looks. Work towards perfecting that. It's on the ground. Do it at a wall first and get better and better and stronger and stronger. That'll be an indicator for you that this is working. Yeah, balance on all fours. Yeah, it was tough. Yeah, it is, right? And what about the wrist thing? Were you guys able to do that? I haven't done that for a while, and I have to say that I noticed in my own body, wow, I wasn't quite as flexible. I could still do them completely, but it was like, whoa, I'm feeling a little pull here in my wrists. Got to get to it. Really is a use it or lose it proposition. It's amazing. I teach 5 live classes a week, and I practice all the time, and I do different things depending on what the focus is. And I haven't done that one for a while. So it's like, whoa, I'm losing that flexibility in my wrists. Got to work on it. It is a killer, right? All right. Thanks for being here. Those of you that are here. If you're in my community, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you want more of. I do customize. So if you give me some suggestions here, I will pull it out of my hat, and the practice will be for you if you're the voice I hear that needs something. Nicole, you are welcome. A lot of great stuff is happening in my world, Nicole. With bone health, I really feel it. My message is getting out there. Pretty powerful. You're welcome, Jean. Thanks, ladies. Those of you that are in the community, next Monday, we have our check-ins, and next Tuesday we have. So next week we have a lot. And then we have a doctor, functional medicine thyroid specialist, thyroid and hormones, coming to speak to us on Monday morning. So if you're in the community or in my Healthy Gut, Healthy Bones program, you will be there with us. Okay, Bev. Well, I love to hear that. That you're going to stretch them to do that. Now, I'm going to tell you, Bev, not everybody can do it, and you might not ever do it. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to improve that flexibility, being able to get that close to 90 degree. So here's what you do in the meantime, here or here, to stretch the wrist front and back. Thanks for being here. I'll see you whenever I see you. I'm in my community 14 hours a month live, so on Zoom mostly. So you get to ask me questions. And then I'm here every week on Thursdays, keeping my body strong and keeping your body strong. My body and bone strong, your body and bone strong. Thanks for joining me. Oh, how do I get out of here? Oh, end stream. It moved. Bye, everyone.